Welcome to another episode of the Coconut Brothers. This is me, Ash, and next to me is my co-host Zap, whose improvised name gave us the actual name of the show.
Yeah, somehow we had a surname out of this.
I have some hot topics over here. Well, I only have the one, but I had to write it down because I thought it was so funny. So Dark Phoenix is losing money, my favorite film of the year, as some people have probably guessed. No, it's not. That was sarcasm. I hate that film. But it lost this weekend to a film called The Secret Lives of Pets 2. A sequel to an animated film that I can only describe as a film that exists.
Actually, I was really banking on the second one being something.
Yeah, because it has Harrison Ford in it. And Harrison Ford is playing himself as a dog. just a grumpy watchdog. I really want to see that because, how did they get Harrison Ford for this? I mean, he's not doing anything. He's out of Star Wars, and they're somehow still convincing us that Indiana Jones 5 is coming out. And, well, I want to see that film if it actually does come out. I want to see Harrison Ford do more stuff because when he likes the role or when he likes a script, he's really good. Well, he was really good in Star Wars Episode 7, and he was really, really good in Blade Runner 2049. Except, I think he only accepted that role because he got to wear, his own clothes. Because he was just wearing a t-shirt through that whole thing. Have you seen that? Did you see Blade Runner?
Blade Runner. I really want to like the setting, but every time I look at it, it feels like a deconstruction of what I like. It's like the ultra hyper-tech, but it's all grungy and disgusting.
Yeah, I kind of like that about the films. I like that because it makes the world lived in like the old Star Wars films.
I suppose. Maybe I just want to see something like hyper-tech played straight.
Did you like that new Cyberpunk game or something starring Keanu Reeves?
Kind of is, but if I'm gonna play it, I'm gonna be a complete anarchist, anti-machinery.
Oh no, Keanu won't stand for that.
So, what next?
Okay, I have something written down here. Do you have a movie? Well, there are some movies. There's a lot of movies out in this world. Why do they keep making them? Is there any movie out there that you've seen, but you know that you will never watch again, whether you enjoyed it or not? Because I can think of some off the top of my head that I know.
And everything I'm thinking just leaking out of my head. My brain is mush.
Well, thankfully mine isn't, so... The mic tried to attack us. It was terrifying. This is how it starts. That's probably what Terminator Dark Fate is about, the killer microphone. Yeah, but there are some movies that I just know I'll never watch again. Probably most of the X-Men films, to be honest, because I was discussing it with my friend. If you want to have an actual X-Men experience, I recommend you just watch, in order, First Class, and then you watch First Class, then you watch X2, or X-Men 1 and 2, like X-Men First Class, X-Men 1, X2, and then you watch Days of Future Past. Those are the only X-Men films you actually have to see.
So, 20% of them?
Yeah. And then you can watch Logan just to cap it off, because, well, Logan's good. But speaking of films I will never watch again, Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones.
Have you seen the anti-cheese edit?
No.
Oh man, it actually feels watchable. Jango Fett actually feels cool in it.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know how, but I enjoyed looking at Jango Fett in the anti-cheese edit.
I watched a clip of it recently, and it's so great. You can actually... There's a line in that film that Ewan McGregor stumbles through, and they just kept it in the film. I think it was that really awkward elevator scene where Obi-Wan says, "I haven't felt you this tense since we fell into that nest of Gundocks." But he says the word "since" twice. If you actually listen to it, he says, "I haven't felt you this tense since we fell into that nest of Gundocks." And it's great. It's great. It's so awkward. And more movies that I'll never watch are the Michael Bay Transformers films. Except the first one. The first one I actually think is good. I like it. It has a really underrated soundtrack. The visual effects really still hold up based on the fact that it came out in 2007. And then Bumblebee came out last year, which was just better than all of his Transformers films combined. But also you can't beat the 1986 film. That's a wonderful film. You've seen that, right?
1986 film.
Yeah, the animated one, where Optimus Prime and everyone dies brutally.
I think I've only watched someone else do a review of it.
Yeah, it's an oil bath, to say the least. And those are the movies that I know I'll never watch again. There's also this one film. This is going to be the most obscure thing I'll ever say, like, on air. But there's this Icelandic film. It's called Angels of the Universe. I won't pronounce it in Icelandic because, well, it will sound terrible. But I saw it in grade school, I think. It's been years and years since I saw it. I liked it back then, but over the years I've just grown to hate every single Icelandic film for some reason, because I feel like they're usually all the same, with like terrible dialogue and awkward acting and just these artsy cinematography shots that believe that they are artsy but are never actually that good. So I kind of want to maintain that film good in my head. So that's why I won't watch it again. I know I liked it. I don't want to hate it. So that's why I won't watch that one again. And movies that I won't watch again are probably most of the Pokemon movies.
Oh dear.
Okay, The Spell of Unknown I love, and Pokemon 2000 I kind of like.
Mm.
I like the story. I like Lugia as a character. I like his theme. I probably will never watch Pokemon 4. Wasn't that called Forever?
Yeah, I was at more times than I care to admit.
No! Why?
Because that was the only one I had.
Oh no!
The worst part is, I remember they had an Icelandic dub of it,
Yeah.
and they dubbed over Pikachu.
No.
I'm not kidding.
No! You're
Pikachu's
lying!
voice was terrible.
You're lying to me!
It was like a dude pretending to be a chick.
Oh.
Pikachu!
Oh no! This is gonna. You're gonna have to find a sound clip of that or something.
I doubt I'll find it, but I guess I'll try.
Yeah, you're gonna try. Did you ever see Rise of Darkrai, the Pokemon film?
It's Everyone's Garden?
Yeah.
That's the only part I remember. Darkrai shrieking, it's Everyone's Garden.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
It's not good. I like it more as a concept rather than execution. Yeah. If you wanna remember what all the Pokemon films are about in a quick session and just watch them in a breeze, go to this YouTuber. He's called Ilnej. You heard of him?
I don't think so.
He's really good. He's really entertaining. He does like animated films, nostalgic animated films. He did one for the Yu-Gi-Oh film, The Pyramid of Light, which is it's another bad movie I keep watching. I love it because Dan Green and Eric Stewart as Seto Kaiba and Yugi just crank it up to 11, because I think they thought that this was going to be the last time they ever did those voices, so they just kind of, threw their voices out recording it. The plot is bad. The animation is kind of weird. The animation is good at times, but it's also kind of awkward, and it has 2 different cuts. I want to talk about the production of this film, actually, the Yu-Gi-Oh! Pyramid of Light. It came out in 2004. This is the weirdest production I've ever heard for any film ever, and we'll probably never see it again. So it's an American film. Did you know that?
No.
Even though it's based on the Japanese anime, and it was originally made like in Japan and stuff like that. But how it worked is 4 kids produced this film, and it was written by American screenwriters. So it was written for an American audience. So that's why it feels like what it feels like. But then it was made in Japan. The animation was made in Japan and everything like that. And then they did their dub. But they did that last. So the Dan Green and Eric Stewart made their dub first. So the Americans got the movie first, and then the Japanese company that was making it as well, they did their own dub and they did their own edit. So you can actually watch 2 different films, because they don't have some of the same scenes they have some scenes in different order. Like in the American one, Kaiba goes to Pegasus and challenges him to a duel, and then it cuts to Yugi and Teiya into the library, and we get like this whole section. of other stuff, and then we see Kaiba and Pegasus duel. But in the Japanese one, Kaiba goes to Pegasus, challenges him to a duel, and then they duel. Because, yeah, that's what we want to see. And I was talking about Il Nej. He does great reviews. He has this playlist called Pokemonth, where he goes through each and every single Pokemon movie and talks about them like in depth. He's really good at doing them. Well, I say in depth, but it's like 10 minutes.
In depth, you say? Let me introduce you to TGX Game Reviews. Now, it's not Pokemon, but it's for a certain other series I fanboy over, the Crash franchise. His reviews are an hour long, on average at least. He doesn't cover Crash games exclusively, but the lengths he can talk is absolutely astounding. One small criticism though. He reuses the footage. He talks on for so long, I have to see the same scene like 6 times. If there's just one episode I recommend you to see, it would be Secret Agent Clank. There's a reason why most of the Ratchet and Clank games are forgotten.
But that's probably the most in-depth review of any Pokemon movie ever.
Yeah.
And he also did the Pyramid of Light, and he also does song parodies. I actually have a favorite one. It's of the Bastille song Pompeii, and he did it about the Legend of Zelda and how all the games are pretty much the same game. And he made a music video of it as well. It's great. I recommend watching Il Nej. He's really good. He's really, really funny. But this is our show, so we have to do more of our own stuff here. So you actually had a topic in mind, and that was, well, you want to introduce that?
We want to talk about the first Ratchet and Clank games.
Yeah, I've been looking forward to this ever since you said it. As soon as you sent me, we're doing Ratchet and Clank next, I was just like, I lit up. I was like, yes! In a world where James Arnold Taylor isn't Ratchet. No, I'm not going to do the voice. So let's just talk about the game. Yeah, so the first Ratchet and Clank game came out in what, 2001?
I guess so, somewhere around that one.
Yeah, let's say 2001. And it was unlike any other game, and the best thing is, like, you said this to me, it wasn't trying to be like any other games, and I think the best analogy for this game I've ever heard was from my best friend. He said, Ratchet and Clank were the original Guardians of the Galaxy.
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate, though. And, okay, if you have ever played the Ratchet and Clank games, you play as Ratchet, this Lombax, and I've just realized that no one that's going to be listening like, yeah, it was a Lombax, because people know what a Lombax is. And he is on this planet trying to rebuild this ship when he sees another ship collapsing, and inside the ship is a robot called Clank. And didn't he have his memory erased or something? Wasn't that a thing?
From what I remember, Clank was defective. He wasn't like the other robots. He was tiny and stuff.
Oh yeah, they had the big ones.
Yeah.
I played this game last year. How can I not remember any of this? Oh yeah, that's why I had the super mode. Wasn't that it?
The super... Yeah, when he spun and then he became a super gigantic thing.
Yeah, when he became a giant Beyblade.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Yeah, No, it wasn't until in like Crack of Time where he didn't have his memory or something because they wanted to introduce time traveling or something.
Yeah,
but
super recon and stuff.
Yeah, but we wanted to talk about the first game because it's a really simple game. You play as Ratchet and you run around beating things to a pulp with a giant wrench. And I've always wanted to own that wrench. Honestly, can someone give me that? I want it. And you break boxes and you collect items, money, pretty much like the games at the time. But it was like a Nintendo game on the PS2.
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
It was like Mario, but on steroids.
Or Banjo and Crash and all the other games.
Yeah, especially with the boxes. And you would go through each world and you would collect items and new weapons, and you would go to this battle arena. Was that too? It wasn't in the first one.
No, it wasn't the first one. You mostly relied on the wrench in the first one.
Yeah.
The weapons were more like tools you could use in a pinch.
Yeah, and the world building is really fun. There are a lot of like colorful characters like Captain Quark.
Yeah.
Which, how has he not become a meme? Honestly, he is such a fun character. He's like
a radical deconstruction of the superhero.
Yeah, he's He's like if Johnny Bravo was a superhero. That was an obscure reference, but I'm going for it.
Well, he has the same body type at least.
yeah. He has that chin, and that green costume, and you would go through all of these levels. I think my favorite level was honestly the second or third one, where you could just swing around on this hook thing.
Yeah, and then the fat lady taunted you or something.
Yeah. There was this. Yeah. That was the thing. The big fat gym teacher.
Yeah.
I want to believe that is the creators taking a shot at some really specific gym teacher, because I want to believe everyone had that one gym teacher that was like out of shape but kept calling you fat. So I think that's a dig at them. It also had a great villain, Damien. What was it, Drake or Drek?
It reminds me of Drek for some odd reason.
Yeah. Was it Damien? Or am I just saying things?
Drek feels right.
Yeah.
So let's just go with Drek.
Yeah. But if his name is Damien, then that's a really soft name for him. Damien can work as a cool name depending on the character. This guy wasn't that cool. He was just like
corporate sleazeback.
Yeah, so Damien. You know what would be funny if we actually Googled it and it turned out it was Damien, and we've just been like harping on him for being called that.
Okay, let's just take a look right now.
So we Googled it.
And it turns out his name was Alonzo Drek.
Alonzo. For some reason I kept thinking Damien, and it turns out it was Chairman. It was Chairman Drek. And I kept saying Damien. Who was I thinking of?
My best guess is that guy from the first season of South Park. The little demon boy.
There is a character out there called Damien Drake. I'm gonna look this up right now.
Say it.
No!
Come on, what?
Damien Drake was... I can't believe I did that. How has this... This is a splinter in the back of the brain. Whew! Okay, let's go. Damien Drake was Timothy Dalton's spy character's name from Looney Tunes back in action. I'm not even kidding. I watched that movie with my sister like a month ago, and Damien Drake has been stuck in my head. I feel so foolish. This is terrible. And the worst part is we're going to have to keep all of this. We can't cut any of this.
No, this is perfect.
This is so humiliating. Like, he's such a film buff. Who the fuck is Damien Drake? Why does he watch that? Honestly, Looney Tunes Back in Action it's a pretty fun film.
Yeah.
It's really fun. It's not good, but it's fun.
Is it a sequel to something? It feels like it is.
No, it's his own thing. And Steve Martin is playing Austin Powers. I want to say because he looks exactly like Austin Powers. But yeah, we're talking about Ratchet and Clank here. We can go back to Looney Tunes whenever.
Yeah.
Or was this just a perfect segue?
Let's go back into the Ratchet.
Yeah, okay. James Arnold Taylor was not Ratchet in this game. He played Ratchet in all of the latter games. I can't remember who was Ratchet in this game, and I'm not going to Google it. We've been Googling for the last 5 minutes now. We can't just do that.
Of course we can! Look!
Yeah, so I completely remembered it by myself that his name was Mikey Kelly. I remember that completely by myself, all alone, no help. He was also the voice of Michelangelo, or Mikey, in the TMNT video game from 2007, the video game adaptation. And I want to say he did his voice for the film as well, but yeah. So Ratchet & Clank is a really fun game, and it's really replayable. But if you've played any of the latter games, like if you play a Crack in Time and then go back to the first one, it's really slow.
I don't know if I agree with that, but let's listen to the speedrunners. I know it's not a fair comparison, but honestly don't remember the first Ratchet & Clank game being slow at all.
And so what Ricardo just bought, he spent his first 1,000 bolts on the helipack. Now, if it's not already obvious, you probably saw him long jumping. That's when he stretches out and Clank extends his gliders. That's going to be our bread and butter as far as movement goes in this game. Because if any of you guys happen to have seen other Ratchet runs, like for example, like I did my Ratchet 3 run, in many other Ratchet games as a whole, the main method of mobility is the charge boots. And it's very important, but in this game does not have that. So the way we build up momentum is we have to chain long jumps together.
Okay, but it's really slow. Like if you do a double jump, it takes like 5 minutes. No, okay, that's just being cruel. He does like this, like he jumps and then he does a double jump.
Something still feels a bit off here. The double jump was never slow. If I had to guess, it would be the helipad high jump. Now that was pretty slow.
Like a double jump works, but it's really slow and awkward because he has to do a flip. Because like why is that when you do a flip in a video game, it's just the coolest thing? You just want to do it over and over again. Like, oh, let's do a flip.
Yeah.
Why is that a thing? Why do we love flips? Like if you were playing a Spider-Man game, you would do as many flips as possible in the air.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really slow, and if you throw you can use the wrench as a frisbee, and it will come back to you, but he stands still the entire time waiting for it. Which in the other games he would do it faster and faster with every game. But I think it was around was it 2 that he could run away, and it comes to him, or was that 3 when they first did that?
In some of the later games, I remember that you don't even have to crouch anymore. You could just toss it and run.
Yeah, you can do that in a crack in time. You can just throw it. When I played that game, I used that wrench more than anything, and sometimes I'll switch between weapons, go for the wrench, I'll jump into the air and do a flip, and I'll throw it mid-flip, and then switch over to a gun. Like, I
You
really...
could do that in midair? I don't remember that.
Yeah, you can do it in mid-air, in crack in time. You can actually do it mid-flip and mid-backflip and everything. It's really fun.
Wow.
They really want you to use that wrench in that game, and it's really good. But going on about the Ratchet & Clank games, I know there's one that you hold above all of the other one, and that would be Ratchet Gladiator. And I've played that game once, so...
Let me explain. All the weapons are actually balanced.
Hmm.
Yeah, strangely enough. So the pistols. There are many ways to customize them. For example, my favorite way is to add all the speed mods to it. So when you fire it, it goes into crazy rat-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. And you add the freezing mod, so you pretty much got the ultimate ice pistols. But that's just an example of how the weapon customization works. Maybe I'm being a bit bold by saying the weapons are balanced. But on the higher difficulties, you have to use all of them. No questions. Why? Because all the enemies are extremely spongy, and there aren't that many weapons to choose from. Even the barrier weapon. That seemed useless at first, but you basically need it at the Exterminator difficulty. But that's enough of a tangent. On with the show.
Yeah, there's also a game I want to discuss you about, because there are games that some people compare, even though they have nothing to do with each other. It's like when people ask, like, which do you like more, Star Wars or Lord of the Rings? Dude, that's not the same thing. I mean... Okay, to be fair, Lord of the Rings is more comparable to Star Wars than Star Trek is to Star Wars, because Star Wars is more of a fantasy. But, like, I've said that the Ratchet & Clank trilogy is the best trilogy on the PS2, and you said Spyro, but I wanna pull a dark horse from under the rug here.
Oh.
I wanna talk about the Sly Cooper games.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, I love those games with a capital, like all caps, space between LOVE. I love those games. I think they're so much fun.
Okay, how's the fourth one? How's the fourth one?
There's not a fourth one.
Good answer.
Yeah, there's not the fourth one doesn't exist. It's like when I get asked, like when I go through my DVD collection, this kid says, like, do you have the Pirates of the Caribbean films? Yes, I have all 3 of them.
Good, good. Now you're getting it.
Yeah, I like the Sly Cooper games. I like all 3 of them.
Yeah. Just like they never made 3DS Mario and Luigi games.
Yeah, and also how there's only 2 Silent Hill games.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sly Cooper, and I like how they evolved with each game from 1 to 3, because the first one is a really quiet caper, and you also, like, you have to be really specific in your movements, and you're sneaking around because you have 1 life, and if you get hit, you die. But if you collect, like, this horseshoe, you get 1 hit, and if you collect 2 of them, you can get hit 3 times, and then you die. I really liked that aspect of the game, except that made you, like, wanna break a controller. So come the second game, you had a health bar, so you can now get hit like 5 times before you died. But at least you had a health bar that kept, like, you could see how many hits you could take, and that was so comfortable because you weren't afraid of death. But the first one, it's about this raccoon called Sly and his pig friend and turtle called Murray and Bentley. And they're a bunch of thieves because Sly went through a terrible, like, tragic backstory when he was a kid. His mother and dad were murdered from him. He's basically Batman, but if Batman went to become a thief. And he's looking for his family legacy, which is a book called The Thievius Raccoonus, and there's this gang called, I think it was the Big Five. Was it the Big Five? And
it sounds right, at least.
It was about these 5 different like mob bosses that each had a chapter of the book, and the last one was called Clockwork, and that was a really, really cool villain, and they really used him again in the second game where they were collecting the parts of all the Clockwork pieces to like call him out again. The second one I think is probably the best one, even though I will say this, my favorite one is the third one, but I do think the second one is the best. I think we agree on that. I don't know.
I think so too. I think I played the third one the most though.
Yeah, it's really fun because you could play as all the different characters. Because in the first one you could only play as Sly. Even when you were playing as the other ones, you would always like be with Sly's POV of it.
And before I forget, Dimitri's theme, was that his name?
Yeah, Dimitri.
That was an amazing theme.
Yeah, he was really good. I loved Dimitri. He was such a slimy character.
Yeah.
I wonder how his suit fits him. I honestly, I thought that thing would just leak off or something. But because in the first game you would only play as Sly, but in the second game it was more of an open. I want to say open world, but it's kind of not. But you could run freely around.
Yeah, it's a hub world.
Yeah, it's a hub world. Thank you. Only you would know that. And
someone needs to pick my brains.
And you could also play as Bentley and Murray, and you could go out and do your own thing. You could collect stuff. You could beat people to a pulp and collect bottles to get more things.
Yeah, I was obsessed with the bottles. Always this little clink, clink, clink noises were driving me nuts.
Yeah,
I had to fight them all before I even kept going on with the story.
Yeah, it would always make this like... it would like explode when you touched it. It was like a Molotov.
Yeah.
But in the third one, you got this really big cast of characters. You would play as Sly and Bentley, who was practically Batman's oracle now. He was in a wheelchair. And Murray, and you could play as this koala bear who was a guru.
Yeah, he was boss in the first one, right?
No, that was the panda. The panda was one of the big 5. The panda, you would have to go to China or something to get him. That is probably my favorite section in the entire game. Not the guru, the panda, because you would go through China and you would fight the Panda King, and it was the exact same boss fight as the first game. So I think that is probably one of the more creative fan services ever.
Yeah, fan service is the right term here.
Yeah, it was really clever how they did that because it was like a battle of the mind, and you had to remember how you beat him last time. So you would just it was like you were playing the first game again, and then you would play probably the most fun boss in the entire game. It was ridiculous. It was like Crouching Tiger. No, what is it called? Crouching Tiger Hidden Dragon. Thank you. I think I had it right the first time.
Tigers and Dragons. Come on, it's like the Chinese stuff. You have to know this.
Yeah. I thought I was mixing them somehow. Crouching Dragon, Hidden Tiger. I don't know why that doesn't
sounds
work.
like a good parody movie at least.
Yeah. It was. Just switching the title though, that would be like doing a movie called South by South North. No, what was it? North by Northwest. I fucked that one up too. No. Damn it. No. Wait, how do you say that? North by Northwest. That would be South by Southeast. That's a terrible title. No one will watch that. But okay, so you would be on these giant bamboo sticks, and there was this giant chicken with a spinning shield. And he would just lunge at you, and you would have to jump like a ninja jump on all over the cross of the screen, and you would have to perfectly like time it and jump and basically hit him with a cane. And every time he would fall down, like he would fall down to his death and just come back up. And every time I was like, and it was the weirdest thing. I think you had to kill him like 5 times to actually kill him.
The chicken, wasn't his name Emperor Sao or something? not Emperor, but at least I remember his name was
General. I think it was General.
Emperor doesn't seem right.
No.
Totally the Emperor of China.
Yeah,
Sure.
I killed the Emperor 5 times.
Wow.
That's how powerful I am. Oh no. The Emperor. No.
I must be thinking about Emperor Palpatine.
Yeah, speaking of Emperor Palpatine, I'm working on this video right now that I just put Tom's scream from Tom and Jerry over scenes that don't fit. And when I imagined when Darth Vader chucks Palpatine down that shaft, it's actually the funniest thing. I kind of want to do that with a chicken now. Each time you kick me, it's like. But yeah, the Sly Cooper games. The third one is really good. Like I said, you could play as a lot of different cast of characters, and the plot was really fun. It was about this safe on an island that belonged to Sly's family, and he was collecting this like ragtag group of thieves. I'm just realizing it's like Ocean's 11. It's like Ocean's 11. That's why it's so good. I like Ocean's 11.
Good thing you mentioned ragtag because they literally said ragtag in the games.
Yeah. And it has a bittersweet ending. Like you think that Sly loses his memory and he somehow becomes friends with Carmelita Fox. That was the cop that kept chasing him.
Well, he keeps changing voice actor each game.
Yeah, that's really annoying. But I want to say that her voice is the best in the third. I think that's when they finally settled in on the correct voice. And it ends on the safe being safe, I want to say. And Bentley, I think he gets married or settles down with Penelope, who's a fighter pilot in one of the stages in the game. Murray goes back to Australia to finish his like meditation thing, and Sly becomes a cop of all things because he's faking having his memory loss so he can date Carmelita Fox. And that's the end of the Sly Cooper story. There is no more games after that.
Yeah, let's wrap it up.
Okay, do you have anything recently played in the last day?
No, the only thing I'm playing right now is just grinding through Guild Wars 2 while I'm listening to some other podcasts. It's pretty chill, not much else to say about that.
Oh. Well, I have something that I watched last night, and I find it funny how I keep mentioning things in my podcast, then I just find myself watching them the next day. That's I have a cousin she's actually competing in like Miss World right now, and she loves horror movies, and she had never seen my favorite horror movie, The Autopsy of Jane Doe, that came out 2016. Have you seen that?
I don't think so. I never heard of it.
It's so good. It's amazing. It's about it's about a father and son who works as morticians. Like they carve up bodies and give the cops the cause of death. And so they get this body from a crime scene, and the previous crime scene was like everyone was dead, like brutally dead. But they get this body back from the scene that's just untouched. It's clean. Nothing's wrong with it. And they're like, whoa, what the fuck? And I swear it. And you have to really like sit down and watch this film. It's mostly in one setting. It's in their basement. Like he lives in this giant house, and the basement is like his office, and then the mortician room and everything. And okay, so the story goes, like I said, they get the body, and without spoiling much, because I honestly want everyone who hasn't seen this film, I want them to see it. I love showing people this movie. The more they dig into the body, a giant mystery is being revealed. And at some point, you're just like, I don't believe what I'm seeing here. It's really good. And Brian Cox is amazing in this movie. This is probably one of the best horror movie performances I've seen in a long time. And Emil Hirsch plays his son, and he's really good. At points, they actually look alike. Like, you believe that they're father and son. And after I watched this amazing horror movie, I went and continued to watch the second season of American Horror Story. It's called Asylum, and I think I'm like 3 or 4 episodes in, but this is nuts. Okay, so it takes place in an asylum, and I talked about Murder House previously, and I thought like they can do way too much in this. Yeah, they cranked this shit up to 11 this season. It's like, this guy is behaving badly. Let's give him electroshock therapy. This one is behaving badly. Let's just cut her legs off. Yeah, that happens. A woman gets her legs cut off because she was trying to escape, which I get, but it feels like it feels like this season is just crazy to try to be crazy. You know what I mean? It's just like let's just do everything bigger and they all go nuts. My favorite character is James Cromwell's character. I don't remember his name, but I remember the actor's name, James Cromwell. He famously played the man who said, "That'll do, pig," in the Babe film. He's really good in this film. He plays like this, like horrible man. Like he's a surgeon, and he's also a murderer of women. But the thing about him is he's also kind of a gentleman. Like he orders a prostitute, and he like pays beforehand, and he wants them to have a romantic dinner and a nice thing by candlelight and everything, and then he just wants to fuck her brains out and kill her. Like it's so disgusting. And there's this scene where basically he tries to do something bad to a woman sexually, but he can't
He snuggles the woman.
he wants to snuggle her without her consent. She does the same thing that Jean Grey does to Xavier. She makes him walk against his will. He's basically mind melding her. But he can't get it up, and she laughs at him, which is like, it's a great scene. Like he can't get it up, and she laughs and laughs and laughs, and then he knocks her out with I think a frying pan or something, probably Brock's drying pan from Pokemon, and then she wakes up with no legs.
Wow.
Yeah. This happens in a row. Like, wow. And I think 3 or 4 episodes in, I'm saying the show starts in modern day before it cuts to this asylum in 1964. That's when all the crazy shit is happening. But there's this weird subplot, and I hate it. It's at the start of each episode before the title screen. So we get this like couple, and the husband is played by Adam Levine of Maroon 5. Yeah, he's in this. And they go to like every haunted house that exists on their honeymoon, and they just snuggle each other's brains out. And they're in this haunted house, and this is where it gets ridiculous. Like he puts his arm in like this hole, and then his arm gets cut off, and that's the first episode. And what happens next is like they're trying to escape, and they go like, she's dragging Adam Levine's body across the damn asylum, and then this like killer comes. I want to say that he gets revealed later because I haven't seen it, so it's probably going to be revealed later. But what I hate about it the most is like you see him stab Adam Levine a couple of times. You see that in episode 2. But in episode 3, we get the continuation of this thing. It's like a mini-sode each time, you know? And what happens is, after Adam Levine, if I'm remembering correctly, he jumps the guy somehow after losing an arm and being stabbed himself. And his wife stabs the other guy, supposedly to death, but you know, he comes back. But okay, they're running through his asylum, and they see these 2 guys in trench coats, and they just shoot him. And so the husband and wife are dead now. 3 episodes in, they get shot in the head. And the guys in the trench coat, they like remove their masks, and they're just some kids, and they're like, "Did you see that? I fucking killed her." And I was like, what is happening? and then they say that like this prank got way too far, and I was like, wow, this is way ahead of the YouTube, like it's a prank bro community. And then the kid notices that Adam Levine is missing an arm, and he goes, wait, what do you think did that to him? And then like the Leatherface ripoff comes back, and that's the most I've seen of it. But like I said, who are these kids? Why are they in the asylum with a gun? And why would they just shoot 2 people in the head? It's so annoying. Like this isn't even the first time that the show has done something like this.
Who keeps collecting all these limbs?
I don't know. No, I'm not talking about the limbs. I'm talking about the point blank shot to the head.
Yeah.
So, okay, there's this episode in Murder.
It's just been looming over my mind to just limb removal all the time.
Yeah. What did you do to those dogs?
Maybe I have a picture that I can't share over the internet. You can see an angry dog with a shower in its eye.
Oh, no. What's wrong with you? But
I lost my mind.
but
it was 2 months of and plenty of stress.
And by the way, we're not talking about a real dog here. He played Nintendo, and he lost his goddamn mind playing it. But I'm gonna talk about this one episode from season 1 of American Horror Story. I liked the episode until the ending, and I hate that episode. It's amazing how an ending can affect everything that came before it. Okay, so there's the main guy from American Horror Story, Ben. He's a doctor of psychology or something. He's a psychiatrist. I don't know if he's a psychiatrist or psychologist. I know there's a difference, but I can't remember for the life of me which one he is. Okay, so he has this client, and he's played by Eric Stonestreet. He plays Cam in Modern Family, like, you know, the big fat gay one?
I guess.
Which everyone loves, the fan favorite. Although, in my mind, the best Modern Family characters in order are Jay, Phil, and Mitchell. Yeah, but okay, so in American Horror Story, he's this client, and he says that he's afraid of urban legends, and I like that. It's like they have their own Bloody Mary tale. You have to say in a mirror, like, "Here, piggy, piggy, piggy," and a pig man will come and kill you. The man bear pig, the man bear pig comes and kill you. Al Gore comes and kills you. So he's afraid to look into mirrors because he's afraid that he'll say the phrase and see him. But Ben gets him to do it, and he's like standing with him and does it, and he can, and it's like, he actually healed someone. That's good, because Ben is kind of a bad psychiatrist in this, because every one of his like clients is a terrible person, except Eric Stonestreet. And so Eric Stonestreet, he says that he's finally like he's not afraid anymore, and he even has a date, and he's going on this date, and you're like, good for this guy. And then he goes home. And he stands in front of his mirror, and he's like getting ready for this date, and you're like, I can't wait to see the... what an arc this guy went through in only 45 minutes. And then he looks into the mirror, and he's like, "Here, piggy, piggy, pig." And he's like, "I can do this. I'm finally not afraid of this anymore." And he says it again, "Here, piggy, piggy." And then he sees the shower curtain move, and he turns back, and there's a burglar in his house, and he shoots him in the head. No, you can't do that! You killed him! Why? It was so... because I thought it was gonna be the ghost. That would have been a great like.
It's a great subversion, at least.
Yeah, that would have been good if it had actually been the ghost. But no, it's just a burglar that shot him point blank in the head, and this other guy. Like, there's always two guys.
Wait, the burglar shot him? Did he shoot the burglar?
No, the burglar shot him in the head.
Oh, come on!
yeah. That's why I hated it.
Now I get it.
Yeah. I should have said that more clearly. No, that would have been great if Eric Stonestreet had shot him in the head.
See, the superstition got to him.
Yeah, that would have been great. But no, Eric Stonestreet says the thing, he turns around, and a burglar shoots him in the head.
Oh, that's just a bummer.
Yeah, and then another guy comes. Like I said, there's always two guys that come like, why did you shoot him, man? You've turned this robbery into a murder. And he's like, yeah, blah, 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 and then they just walk away, and we never hear from that thing again. I was so mad. I was watching that episode, and I did the exact same thing that you did. I just went, come on! Like, you can't do that. And now you've ruined it even more, because now I want to see a scene where Eric Stonestreet just pulls out a Glock and kills the guy. That would have been awesome. Oh no! But yeah,
that's why I'm an editor.
Yeah, that would have been a great subversion of expectation. That would have been good. Yeah, that's even better than if it had just been the ghost.